Hi, so finally we have reached the moment where we can start defining functions which actually will be it will be visible that they might be useful. So here we have a function like this, and this function is a function which is called confirmation message. We can see that it takes two arguments, and here there are some lines of code where this function does something with these arguments parameters. So to understand what this function does, we have to go through this code. So as you can see, inside the function, everything here happens inside the function because, as we can see, there is an indent here. So as I told you before, everything which is inside the function has to have an indent at the beginning. We will talk a little bit more about indents when we will be talking about potential errors with functions in the next videos. But for now, let's assume that an indent is 4 spaces from the beginning of the code cell, of the left side of the code cell. So inside functions, we can create variables. So as you can see, here we create a first variable, which is text1. So probably this will be the first text we want to return as a result of the function. And this text will say start packing your bags plus name. So now we can understand that here we can input an argument, for instance, and the name of the argument suggests that this should be a name. So for instance, this should be Mateusz, or here like in example Emma. And then this Emma will be added to this. So start packing your bags, Emma, and we will finish the line with exclamation mark. And then we have another variable text2. You have successfully booked a trip to, and then another argument, our second argument is used, location. So depending on what argument we will use as a value for this parameter location, this variable will have a different value. So this text, for instance, in this example will be you have successfully booked a trip to Antarctica, and we finish with a dot. And then we create a full text, and this text is just those two texts we have created so far combined. So as you can see, you can put as many lines of code inside the function. You can create variables inside. You can use these variables again to define new variables. So there is plenty of things you can do inside the function. And at the end, when you are finished, when you already have the result you want the function to return, you can return it with return statement, as we have seen in the previous examples. So let's define this function and let's see how it works. We can see that we get the confirmation message. And why this is useful? Well, imagine that right now we want to have a confirmation message also at the end of the notebook. So I scroll to the end of the notebook. I haven't even run any of the cells above. I don't even know what is there. And then I start writing. I remember that I want to put a confirmation message here. So I start writing confirmation because this is what I want to get. Python reminds me that gives me propositions of something which sounds similar. I click on it, I have confirmation message. So this is my function which creates confirmation message. Here Python even tells me when I have created the brackets how the function works. So the function takes one argument and second argument, so two arguments, and returns something. And I remember that these arguments should be my name and location. Python tells me that this is name and location because I named these arguments as such when I was defining the function. So let's put my name here, and let's say that I'm going to, let's say, France. Of course, this has to be a string as well. And now if I run this code, I can either do it by clicking on this button or clicking Shift Enter on my keyboard. Shift Enter, and I get the message. Start packing your bags, Mateusz. You have successfully booked a trip to France. So you can already see why this is useful. I didn't have to write all of this code which was inside the function. I don't even have to remember how the function works. I don't even have to know. I might not even know that. Like maybe someone else has written this function. This is actually true in this case because it wasn't me who wrote this notebook, but my colleagues. So and I can use this function whenever I want in this notebook, as I want. I can do it again, and confirmation message. I can see that Python again tries to help me how the function looks like. I clicked tab to complete the name, and let's say that Franek is going to Germany. And again, I have another confirmation message. Of course, you might think, okay, why do I need confirmation message? Well, in notebooks, probably it won't be useful. But imagine that you are designing a website where many clients book a trip somewhere. Then you can just use this function and it's ready. So this was a more complicated example of a function, and so you already know how to create more complicated functions. In the next video, we will have a look at problems you might encounter when defining functions. So we will go back to the part of the notebook when we have left off, and talk about different problems, not all of them, but different problems you can have when defining functions. So thank you for your attention, and see you in the next videos.